two, is DAZN going to sell the company?
Why you say that?
DAZN claimed that Canelo haven't had one significant / premier fight on DAZN yet. Basically, They say in other words that they probably calling him out for cherry picking.
Where are the Canelo fans when you need them? The fanboys. What was I telling you last week? I just posted a video today of Oscar De La Hoya claiming that Canelo is the savior of boxing. You know, Canelo's going to come back and save boxing. HBO went out of business, right?
Yeah.
I told you last time, if Canelo was going to bring DAZN to life, he would have saved HBO from drowning. That only makes sense. I mean, how can you be the biggest star in the game? You fight under HBO, and HBO drowned because they ran out of business. So Oscar De La Hoya, though, I got to give him props. He played it the right way business-wise. So what he did, DAZN realized, hey, we trying to launch our new network, is streaming network. What's the best timing? The best timing is now because HBO just went out of business. So there's a lot of fighters we could sign that left HBO, including Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez. That was like the main two. So what ended up happening, Oscar De La Hoya, he went on an interview, and Oscar De La Hoya told the biggest lie of all time. He said, Canelo Alvarez, this is verbatim out of Oscar De La Hoya's mouth. He said, Canelo Alvarez is like a red-headed Mexican. People love him. Every time he fights, he does the biggest numbers in boxing history. I was like, oh, man, this dude, he really trying to sell Canelo. Yeah. But after he said that, he mentioned the DAZN deal. That's as soon as they signed the DAZN deal, and that's why he was informing the fella, like, we got this deal on the table because Canelo, man, he does breaking record numbers. He always break records. He always does the biggest numbers on TV. I'm like, man, he really trying to sell Canelo. And he sold Canelo to DAZN because he told them, y'all want breaking records? Y'all want numbers that y'all can't comprehend? Sign Canelo. So what he did, though, to sign Canelo under DAZN, he signed all of his fighters as a package with Canelo. So he made DAZN pretty much pay him for his fighters and Canelo. He told DAZN, you can't just have Canelo and not sign none of my fighters. You have to sign all of my fighters and Canelo. So he ended up finessing DAZN of $90 million just for his fighters that they don't care about. And also he finessed DAZN for like $300 million for 11 fight deal in 5-year period for Canelo Alvarez. So that's 2 deals. So Oscar De La Hoya gets, I believe, 16 to 17 million. That's what we know, a year just to host fights other than Canelo. So Canelo didn't know anything about that. He thought he was only getting a deal for himself. He thought that was his only deal. He didn't know Oscar De La Hoya used his name to get a huge contract for his fighters. So pretty much the question has to be asked, why do we hear drama of Ryan Garcia complaining about pay if DAZN offered Golden Boy 16 to 17 million a year? They should be able to pay him very comfortably. Why is Ryan Garcia complaining? Why is, like, there's a lot of questions raised, and that's why DAZN is going back and forth right now with Golden Boy. Also, Canelo Alvarez found out that Oscar De La Hoya pimped him out, so he really got upset. But more so, he started getting upset at Oscar De La Hoya trying to force him to fight the fighters that he's still ducking, which is obviously Andre and Charlie. So pretty much, how things played out. DAZN, I don't know what's going on with DAZN. I think they don't know much about boxing. They had a lot of businessmen that didn't know about the business in boxing, how business work in boxing. It's a whole lot of competition. It's not monopoly. It's pretty much competition, right? So DAZN was overpaying fighters. I mean, Eddie Hearn came out as soon as he came to the United States. He was like, it's the takeover. I have a $1 billion company. He said we overpaying fighters. Pay-per-view is dead. He had all that to say. He said he's going to take all the fighters from Al Haymon. He started dissing Al Haymon. He started dissing Bob Arum, right? These are the veterans that had the longevity in the sport of boxing. So he dissing these guys. And then Oscar De La Hoya and Eddie Hearn pretty much signed with DAZN. And obviously, DAZN offered a lot of money. They were throwing money left and right because they had a lot of money to give. But they had the wrong mindset because you could give out a lot of money, but how are you going to make it back? You know, okay, I'm going to give you 30 million, but I'm going to need to at least break out even so I won't lose. So DAZN pretty much thought that Canelo was going to save the day. I don't know what they were thinking because they did the same thing with Gennady Golovkin. They signed Gennady Golovkin to a $100 million deal. $100 million for like 5 to 6 fight deal. $100 million. So they talking about pay-per-views dead, this and that. And, you know, pretty much over the long run, DAZN started realizing what I be preaching daily, which is Canelo's stardom is dying. Gennady Golovkin's stardom is dying because they keep avoiding the best. At once, they said Gennady Golovkin was the boogeyman. Then we all found out that was a lie. Then they said Canelo Alvarez is the face of boxing. He the best in the game. Then we all found out that's a lie, including DAZN. Now, all these Canelo fanboys that don't want to call in, they don't have the cojones to call in because they can't go against facts with their emotional opinion. It seemed like they have a relationship with Canelo. Like, that's why they have female parts, because they be acting like female. They be acting like they in a relationship with Canelo because they can't see the truth. Even DAZN are criticizing Canelo for cherry picking. They said that Canelo haven't had one premier fight. One! And he already fought like 3 times on DAZN. The reason why, because they not seeing the numbers that Oscar De La Hoya promised when he told them that Canelo, he does record-breaking numbers on TV. That's what Oscar De La Hoya claims. So DAZN are waiting like, when are these numbers going to show up? Because he fought, I believe, Daniel Jacob. That was his biggest fight yet on DAZN. He did 660,000 views in the US and 1.1 or 1.2 million worldwide. This is the face of boxing they talking about. And DAZN at the time had a deal where it was $10 a month, and I believe it was $90 a year, so $8 a month. So they not gave that much revenue. Now let me just break it down like an accounting. You know, I mean, I don't like to count nobody money, but I'm just showing you how much DAZN is losing. Okay, so Canelo gets a guarantee of 33 to 35 million a fight. So against Daniel Jacob, for example, he got 33 to 35 million guaranteed. On the other hand, Daniel Jacob got 12 to 15 million dollar guaranteed. That's 50 million total. Now, what is the revenue that's coming in? They did 1.2 million views worldwide. If I have an account, you could view it on your phone and I could view it on my phone. 2 people could view the DAZN app with one account. You get up to 2 people. So the 1.2 million views, who that to say that's everybody have an account? Possibly half of them are people that's sharing it with their friends. You got to keep that in mind. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say 1.2 million times $10. What is that?
10,200,000.
That's the revenue they brought in. And
so
look,
that's not even enough to.
They not even breaking out even. So they like, oh heck no. And they raised the DAZN app from $10 to $20. And that still didn't do the magic, because when Canelo fought Kovalev, they paid Kovalev around the same money. They paid Canelo around the same money. And they did even worse in numbers that they didn't even release to the public. So Oscar, like I told you last time, if he's saving the sport, why DAZN haven't been releasing his numbers? Because I told you there's only one reason. He been flopping because he been cherry picking. I told you I ran into one of my best friends the other day, Epifanio. And I asked him, man, what's up, man? You ain't a fan of Canelo? He said, no, that's still my man. I said, well, the last time he fought, you didn't even watch the fight. He said, because I knew he was going to win. I'm like, yeah, because you knew he was cherry picking. My point exactly. And Canelo was trying to sell the fight. That was a legacy fight. I'm moving up 2 divisions when it was a clear cherry pick. So that's why DAZN came out and said that Canelo haven't had one premier fight. In other words, one good fight. He haven't even fought one good fighter we want him to fight. He haven't fought Andre. He haven't fought Charlo. And he ain't even fought Gennady Golovkin. Now, they lost on the Gennady Golovkin fight. They lost on the Gennady Golovkin investment. Let me explain why. Gennady Golovkin was a fighter they signed. Same situation with Canelo. They gave him all this money. He making $15 million fight. For what? To cherry pick? He didn't bring subscribers. He didn't bring viewership. So DAZN started realizing, like, damn, we really thought Gennady Golovkin was going to grant us a lot of subscribers, but it clearly didn't. And he's cherry picking. He said he's interested in the young lions. Andrade is a young lion. Charlo is a young undefeated lion. He turned down the fight with Charlo when the WBC ordered a fight. Andrade is a champion when Gennady Golovkin wasn't a champion. And Canelo said, if you want to fight me, fight Andrade. And Gennady Golovkin turned down the fight. So my point is, Gennady Golovkin, his stock started dropping. He fought Deryachenko, another Ukraine fighter, and he lost the fight. But he robbed Deryachenko in the process. But one thing you cannot rob is our eyes. We clearly saw who won. The fans know who won. So now Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin, this clash, this trilogy fight that it was anticipated, is no longer the same. The fight lost lust. People they no longer care about the fight because Gennady Golovkin is older. He got exposed. Canelo is getting better. He's younger. However, he cherry picking. He destroying his own brand. His stock is dropping. And that's what DAZN realized. They're like, man, we paying this man $33 million. We getting a freaking $10 million back. And that's where DAZN miscalculated. All right, what I told you last time. DAZN should have had the contract where it clearly says you have to fight the fighters we want you to fight. If we're going to give you a guaranteed $33 million fight, you have to fight the fighters we want you to fight. But they didn't do that. So it ended up backfiring on them. Also, where they miscalculated, they overpaid a lot of fighters. They overpaid Canelo and they overpaid Gennady Golovkin. And they let them have their way. Now, if you have a $33 million guarantee per fight, guarantee, are you going to go out of your way to promote the fight? No. Are you going to go out of your way to fight better competition? No. Are you going to go out of your way to do anything? No.
The problem with that contract.
So that's a freaking problem with the damn contract. It's not a percentage deal. If it would have been a percentage deal, well, look, Canelo, if you do this amount of subscribers, you get half of the revenue plus this signing bonus. That would have been perfect. But because they just gave him guarantee money, man, Golden Boy even came out the other day talking about we could wait before announcing the Canelo fight a month before the fight because there's no fans. What do you mean? You still have to sell the fight. You still have to promote a fight. I mean, Floyd Mayweather fights. The whole thing about how Floyd Mayweather got famous when he fought Oscar De La Hoya, it was the 24/7 that Floyd Mayweather made. It was Floyd was the entrepreneur of 24/7. And that's what the UFC did. They took a blueprint of what Floyd Mayweather did because Floyd laid out the greenprint of how to make money in the business of marketing yourself. So 24/7 came to the game when Floyd fought Oscar, him talking trash, him selling himself. So he pretty much, you get hyped for the fight. You have to sell me the fight. You can't just tell me there's a fight and there's a date. Okay, tune in. A lot of people are not just going to tune in. You have a lot of casuals that tune into the story, to the background of a person you fighting. They want to know what's the risk. They want to put a gamble on the line. You get what I'm saying? So Canelo didn't do a lot of those things. And on top of all of that, he was cherry picking and he's still cherry picking to this day. And that's why his brand is dying. His name is dying. Like I said before. I remember, I'm a reporter, but I know the popularity of fighters. When Floyd Mayweather was in the game, I report on Floyd, right? The numbers you get, you know Floyd is the face of boxing. Even Manny Pacquiao. You report on Manny Pacquiao, you realize, damn, this dude actually, like, people love Pacquiao. You report on Deontay Wilder, you get numbers. You report on Anthony Joshua in the UK, you get numbers. Meanwhile, it got to a point now where you report on Canelo Alvarez, nobody give a damn. Even his fans got tired of Dan Canelo cherry picking, trying to fight a freaking dude off a loss. That's why the zone got tired of him. Like, man, we over here telling you we losing every time you fight. We losing 30 million a fight every time you fight. And you want to fight a dude coming off a loss? And now the zone is playing it smart because they had a deal with the Golden Boy. This is how crazy it is. Canelo can't even see his contract. Canelo doesn't even know what he signed. Golden Boy and DAZN is not trying to show Canelo Alvarez the contract they had on the table. So their attorney is pretty much fighting DAZN. And I see why you said, are they pretty much going to sell? It's looking like they're going to sell because I'm be honest with you. A lot of people like, man, I don't think they're going to sell now, but when are they going to sell? How long are they going to keep losing money? Because you got to remember one thing. The zone is in the sport to make money, not to lose money.
But how are they going to sell it, though?
You could sell it to either ESPN or HAYMON. Either PBC is going to purchase it or ESPN Top Rank going to purchase it. One of the two. But you also have to have a good price, a reasonable price. So HAYMON, I mean, last time I covered Canelo, there was a talks of Canelo fighting on Showtime. So HAYMON could be trying to actually purchase all the fighters on the zone.
But would the contract still be the same? They still got to pay Canelo, right?
Probably. I mean, but I don't know. I don't know. They probably work out a deal, but I don't think they're going to pay that much for Canelo. Or they're going to have Canelo to take on real fights. They're not going to have him cherry picking. Not under HAYMON. You don't get to cherry pick under HAYMON. HAYMON always make the best versus the best. Look at Charlo, who he facing. Daryachenko. Look who Jamel is facing. Rosario, another champion, unification bout. Gervonta fighting Cruz. Errol Spence fighting Danny Garcia. So my point is, fighting under HAYMON, he always make the best versus the best. Manny Pacquiao, he was under Bob Arum for so many years. No, I mean, after the Floyd Mayweather loss, I mean, he fought Bradley for the third time. Nobody really cared. He fought Jeff Horn, Mathise. It was until he came to HAYMON, he fought Broner and then Keith Thurman. Like, HAYMON is going to give you money. He's going to give you what you're worth, and he's also going to look out for you outside of boxing. But one thing for sure, he's going to make sure he get every single penny. He's going to make sure you fight the best. He's going to like, you want to make money? The way to make money in the sport of boxing, you have to fight the best.
Right.
You know what I mean? So my point is the zone is in a very tough situation because if you look at their schedule, they don't have no fights announced. You're a streaming network. Like, for example, ESPN, I could go on ESPN right now. I could pretty much probably watch a show, TV show. I could watch games. You know what I'm saying? I could watch different things. You know what I mean? On the zone, the way they make money is by promoting fights live. So if they don't have fights live, there's no revenue coming in, right? So the zone, in a way, they losing money fast and they getting sued fast because a lot of subscribers that subscribed yearly and they were promised 16 fights a year, quality fights. They're like, where the heck is the fights? Y'all promised us all these fights. Y'all did not fulfill y'all part of the contract. So I want my money back. These the fans speaking. A lot of fans already sued the zone. So the zone is in a very tough situation. That's why they pretty much going back and forth with Canelo. That's why there's no fights announced from Anthony Joshua to even Ryan Garcia, even the small fights to Canelo Alvarez, Andrade, Smith, you name it. Because they realized if we're not going to make money, if this is the path we going in, we better stop now before we go too deep and lose more money. So that's pretty much what the zone realized. And like I said, they could be up for sale pretty soon. You know, if they don't work out something pretty quick, they could be up for sale pretty soon. I don't see HAYMON purchasing the DAZN fighters unless it's a good deal. On the other hand, Top Rank and ESPN, it'd probably be a good idea for them to actually buy the DAZN fighters. Because if HAYMON join forces with DAZN, and HAYMON already have 80% of the fighters is a monopoly now. It is no longer competition. Al Haymon took DAZN out of business. And now he could start his own belt, PBC. If you want to fight a fighter on PBC, you have to sign with PBC. He could have that type of deal and take over the sport. And I'm talking about some UFC takeover. You know what I mean? So all this was possible thanks to Canelo cherry picking. If Canelo could have saved his own, if he fought Charlo instead of purchasing a French fries belt, requesting the WBC to make a belt, and he bought the belt. But he purchased a freaking strap, the French fries belt, right? He ordered, or he forced the WBC in order to make the Canelo versus Avini fight. A fighter coming off a loss. Like I said, it's a horrible look, and DAZN is fed up. They finally listening to me. Like I said, man, I've been telling DAZN from day one. I keep telling you this all the time. If you look at fighters like Floyd Mayweather, Muhammad Ali fought every single fighter you can name. Floyd Mayweather fought every single fighter you can name. People want to say he cherry picked, but that's a complete cap. They just hate the fact that Floyd Mayweather is TBE, and he happened to be just like Ali from the coincidental list. Ali was more hated than Floyd. The point is, where is Brian Kinney of Canelo Alvarez? Because Floyd Mayweather, every time they told him to fight somebody on TV, like Brian Kinney, he goes and fight that person. Where is the Brian Kinney version of Canelo Alvarez? Why we don't see somebody on DAZN pressure Canelo and ask him the tough questions respectfully? Like I told you before, all they have to tell him is like, when you gonna fight Andre? He gonna be like, oh, he born. How he born? He move around. Well, don't you move around too? You moved around against Gennady Golovkin. And then Canelo, he's stuck in a corner. Now he look like a man with no cojones if he don't face Andre. And that's my point. DAZN made a huge miscalculation by not having the right reporters around to ask the tough questions when it comes to their fighters in order to start drama and spark the flame for promotion. People don't like, I mean, we all love sportsmanship, respectful. You know, I respect you, you respect me. But man, that's not what sell fight. What sell fights is talking crap, is actually beef between fighters and drama. So if it's all goody, nobody really care. It's too boring. People don't like to be bored. They want to be entertained. So like I said, that's why Canelo is destroying DAZN. And I stay to be corrected. And the decaf stay to be incorrected. Oscar De La Hoya stay to be incorrected. Canelo is not doing record-breaking numbers. People lie. Women lie. Numbers don't lie. According to DAZN, Canelo numbers are flopping. Canelo Alvarez did his highest numbers against Daniel Jacob, which were around 660,000 views in the United States and 1.2 million worldwide. Man, like I told you guys before, David Morrell, a PBC prospect who's only 2-0, who made history becoming an interim WBA champion with only 3-0, he did 1.3 million views when he fought. That's more than Canelo. And this is an upcoming star. I don't even have to bring Errol Spence to the table. I don't have to bring none of those guys to the table. To all the decafs, oh, excuse me, boom, snap my finger, all the decafs back because I ran out of decafs. I knocked out so many decafs on split decisions that I can't even pay a decaf to call in on Boxing Hood. The Brotherhood of Boxing. AKHi stand for my brother. So if you're an AKHi of mine, subscribe below. If you're trying to get smarter by the minute, if you're trying to get dumber by the second, don't. And listen to these decafs, the dumb, casual-ass fans that don't know shit about boxing. Word to Roger Mayweather. May he rest in peace, inshallah. Shout out to my bro Ski, my AKHi Dante, the entrepreneur of new media that I'm a part of, the real media that talk about the real issues in boxing in general. So with that being stated, subscribe and click on the notification bell to get notified every time I post or go live on Split Decision and Boxing Hood. AKHi stand for my brother. This is my own brother right here. All the decafs. I'm going to bring y'all back to existence. Oh, my bad. That wasn't meant to be. But all I'm saying is grow the cojones and call in split decision, because that's what I do to y'all cojones. Smash. We smashing cojones like tomatoes. So call in if you got cojones. They got no cojones, my AKHi. Like my man Armstrong said.
You don't know shit.
For the people that don't know shit about boxing, he was talking to.
Better not duck me, son.
Quit ducking the question.
Better not duck me, son.
Quit ducking the question.
Hold it, you're not that pretty. I'm a bad man. Wait. I still got the world. I still got the world. I still got the world.
I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.